Imagine standing on a bridge 625 meters above the ground, nearly twice the height of the Eiffel Tower, where the Beipan River flows below like a tiny stream.
They said the mountain could not be moved. It stood tall for millions of years, blocking roads and dreams. But China did not turn back. Engineers cut straight through solid rock and built a bridge in the sky. The world watched as history changed. Why would a nation go this far just for a bridge? Join us to find out. When beauty becomes a cage. The Chinese province of Guizhou is known for a gentle saying passed down through many years. The people say there is hardly any flat ground here. This is not poetry or exaggeration. It is daily truth. In Guizhou, the land is always rising and falling. Mountains and hills stretch in every direction, with very little rest for the eye or the feet. Flat land is rare and precious. Travel in Guizhou has never been easy. Straight roads are uncommon, and smooth paths between towns are almost impossible. Roads twist, climb, drop, and turn again. The land looks as if it was softly folded by giant hands. Deep valleys cut through the earth, and tall ridges stand like quiet guards. The landscape feels alive and moving, even when it is still. The beauty is undeniable. Green peaks roll endlessly across the horizon. Clouds drift slowly between mountaintops, brushing their edges like soft cotton. Rivers slide through the rock like thin silver ribbons, shining in the light. Many visitors fall in love the moment they arrive. They call Guizhou the Switzerland of China. They admire the clean air, calm villages, and deep traditions. They take photos, smile, and leave with full hearts. But behind this beauty is a quiet truth few visitors see. For the people who live here, the mountains have long felt like a cage. For centuries, Guizhou was cut off from the rest of China. Moving goods in was hard. Selling products outside was even harder. Roads wrapped around cliffs and dipped into valleys before climbing again. Every journey demanded time, strength, and patience. Sometimes a town could be seen across a canyon, just 1 kilometer away. Smoke from cooking fires rose gently into the air. Sounds from markets or church bells floated on the wind. Yet reaching that town meant a 2-hour journey along narrow, dangerous mountain roads. What looked close was actually very far. This was not rare, it was a normal life. Families lived divided by hills and steep slopes. A grandmother might see her grandchildren across the valley but only visit a few times each year. Visiting loved ones required planning and courage. Heavy rain could wash away paths. Thick fog could hide the road. One small mistake could turn dangerous. Many people chose to stay where they were. Children felt this isolation deeply. Better schools existed nearby, but reaching them was difficult. A short distance on a map became a long journey in real life. Many students stayed home, not because they lacked talent or dreams, but because the mountains stood in the way. Education was shaped by geography. Farmers worked hard on sloping land, carving fields into the hills with care. They planted, tended, and harvested with hope. But getting crops to market was slow and rough. By the time the produce arrived, much of it had spoiled. Poverty followed quietly, not from laziness, but from delay. Opportunities were close enough to imagine. Jobs, trade, learning, and growth felt just beyond reach. It was like standing behind clear glass. A better life could be seen, but not touched. Over time, this shaped generations. Poverty did not arrive suddenly. It settled slowly and deeply. The mountains are shaped more than roads. They shaped thinking. When travel is hard, dreams grow smaller. Leaving feels risky. Staying feels safer, even when it hurts. In this way, the land quietly guided the future of many lives. The Chinese government saw this struggle clearly. They saw a place rich in culture and beauty, yet limited by stone and height. The people were strong and hardworking. The problem was not effort, but distance and terrain. For a long time, nature decided what was possible in Guizhou. The mountains watched quietly as people endured. Life was hard, but hearts stayed warm. Neighbors helped neighbors. Small joys mattered. This is why the name mountain prison fits so well. There are no bars or walls, only beauty that binds. The peaks give pride and belonging, yet also take time, freedom, and ease. But where the world saw struggles, the Chinese government drew opportunities. Stay with us. Where the mountains were finally connected. In Guizhou province alone, there are 32,000 bridges. This number belongs to just one place in China, not the whole country. When you think about the steep mountains and deep valleys of Guizhou, it feels almost impossible. Yet these bridges stand quietly every day, doing something very simple and very kind. They help people reach one another. These are not small wooden bridges over calm streams. They are strong and wide structures stretching across deep gorges and wide valleys. They connect villages, towns, and families that were once separated by stone and height. Each bridge is like a gentle hand reaching out across the land. Before these bridges existed, travel in Guizhou was slow and tiring. Roads twisted around mountains like long ribbons. A place that looked close on a map could take many hours to reach. People woke up before sunrise just to visit nearby towns. Trucks moved carefully, afraid of sharp turns and steep drops. Waiting became part of life. Then the bridges arrived, and everything changed. People no longer had to circle entire mountains. They could travel straight ahead. Valleys that once forced long detours became simple crossings. What once took half a day could now take minutes. Time returned to the people, and with time came hope. Among all 32,000 bridges, one rises higher than the rest. This is the Huajiang Bridge, the tallest bridge in the world. If you stand at the bottom of Huajiang Canyon and look up, the bridge feels unreal. It hangs 625 meters above the ground. It feels closer to the sky than to the earth. Sometimes clouds float beneath the road, and cars seem to glide through the air. The bridge stretches 2,890 meters across the canyon. Before it was built, crossing this space meant a long and difficult drive along dangerous mountain roads. Today, the same crossing takes just 2 minutes. 2 hours became 2 minutes. This change is more than numbers. Parents can come home earlier. Farmers can reach markets before food spoils. Students can travel safely. Emergency help can arrive on time. Life moves more smoothly, like water finding a clear path. The bridges of Guizhou are more than steel and concrete. They carry care, dreams, and connection. Each one quietly reminds the people that the mountains no longer decide their future. But while building this bridge, they encountered a problem. Let's dive in. When the mountain refused to move. The bridge is just a single component of the narrative. To fully comprehend the extent of China's determination, it is necessary to examine the pathway that precedes it. The Huajiang Bridge is a segment of the Guizhou S57 Expressway, a road constructed through one of the most challenging terrains on the planet. The road, which spans 150 kilometers, traverses rugged mountains, deep valleys, and unyielding rock formations. Constructing a roadway in this terrain presented significant challenges. The landscape features sudden elevation changes and rocky cliffs, making progress difficult. Typically, roads in such locations wind and curve around natural barriers. However, a unique approach was taken this time. A mountain obstructed the path ahead. The obstacle in the path was not a small incline, but a giant mountain. If the engineers decided to avoid it, the road would have to be extended by many additional kilometers. This would lead to slower travel, more perilous curves, and wasted time. They took a courageous step. They chose not to circumnavigate the mountain, but rather pass directly through it. Engineers came equipped with robust drills and strategically placed explosives. Each day, they toiled away at the unyielding rock. The mountain proved to be a formidable opponent, withstanding the test of time. However, through perseverance, expertise, and meticulous planning, they gradually altered the landscape. A broad V-shaped entrance was cut directly through the middle of the mountain. The rock was gradually taken out, bit by bit. 2 sturdy walls now stood on either side of the fresh highway, dividing the mountain in half. Instead of a solid wall of stone, there was now a visible route ahead. It is difficult to comprehend the magnitude of this project. The process of forming mountains usually takes millions of years, influenced by various factors like time, pressure, and earth movements. However, this particular mountain was excavated in a mere few months. The volume of rock extracted was immense, enough to fill numerous Olympic-sized swimming pools. The echoes of each explosion could be heard echoing throughout the surrounding valleys. The residents of nearby villages could feel the ground trembling beneath their feet. However, this was not reckless chaos. Each incision was deliberate. Every explosion was carefully orchestrated. The engineers ensured that the remaining cliffs were stable and secure. While the mountain underwent transformation, it was treated with reverence. The remaining structure stood steadfast, cradling the road gracefully within its embrace. As the construction of the highway progressed, a significant transformation occurred. Previously, remote areas became accessible due to the new link created by the expressway. Connecting 14 distinct districts in Guizhou, the highway brought formerly distant locations closer together. Transportation became more efficient, facilitating quicker trade and improving the overall quality of life for residents. Traveling through the divided mountain creates a surreal experience. Quiet, towering cliffs line both sides of the road, creating a sense of calm. The path ahead is smooth and straightforward, with no sudden twists or steep ascents. It is a peaceful intersection of nature and human construction. And at the conclusion of this pathway, an even more awe-inspiring sight comes into view. The road stretches all the way to a suspension bridge, suspended 625 meters above the ground. Once motorists traverse a mountain that has been split in two, they arrive at a platform hanging precariously over a deep gorge. In a fleeting moment, the path transitions from solid rock to open sky. How human hands reach the sky. The work began long before any steel touched the sky. Engineers stood quietly at the edge of the canyon, looking in every direction. They studied the land with care, walking both upstream and downstream, searching for the one place that felt right. The rock had to be strong enough to hold huge towers. The canyon walls had to support a bridge that had never been built before. Every detail mattered, and nothing was ignored. The canyon walls leaned at different angles. Wind moved through the gap in sudden and changing ways. Far below, the earth reminded everyone that earthquakes were possible. Each force had to be understood. This bridge could not simply stand, it had to last. After long study, a final plan was chosen. The bridge would stretch 2,890 meters across the canyon. At its heart would be a main span of 1,420 meters. This meant a long section of road would hang in open air, held only by cables, with nothing beneath it but sky. The design was a steel truss suspension bridge, chosen for strength and flexibility. The steel frame was divided into 93 sections, weighing 22,000 tons in total. To understand that weight, think of this. The Eiffel Tower weighs 7,300 tons. This bridge weighs 3 times more. All of this steel had to be placed while hanging 625 meters above the canyon floor. There was no room for mistakes. Even the tallest crane in the world could not reach that height, so engineers found another way. They used a cable crane system. A thick steel cable was stretched across the canyon, from one side to the other. Hanging from it was a moving trolley strong enough to carry heavy steel pieces. Workers carefully attached each steel section to the trolley. Slowly and gently, it moved across the canyon, carrying its load through open air. Wind could not be ignored. Balance had to be perfect. Every move was calm and careful. The bridge was built from the center outward. Engineers placed the first pieces in the middle, then worked toward both sides at the same time. This kept the bridge balanced, like two hands growing together. Nothing leaned. Nothing pulled too hard. To place every piece correctly, workers used China's Beidou satellite system. This helped guide each section into its exact place. Angles, heights, and connections were checked again and again. Before construction began, the entire bridge already existed inside computers. Engineers created detailed digital models and practiced the whole process step by step. Problems were found and solved on screens before steel ever moved. Every bolt, weld, and joint had a purpose. Construction officially began on the 18th day of January in the year 2022. Slowly, the bridge rose into the air. By the 21st day of April in the year 2023, the first tower reached 199 meters. From there, the upper beamwork began. Day by day, the structure grew stronger. In August of the year 2025, the bridge faced its load test. Real weight was placed on it while engineers watched closely. After several days, the test was passed successfully. The bridge opened on the 28th day of September in the year 2025. It now stands 2,890 meters long, with two towers rising 262 meters high. The drop to the river below is 625 meters, the highest in the world. Inside the cables, fiber optic strands quietly monitor the bridge every hour of every day. This bridge is not only strong, it is watchful, gentle, and ready, holding the sky with care. But there stood a problem that could destroy the whole plan if not looked into. What was it? Let's find out. When the land pushed back, they built smarter. Building this bridge was not only about strength, it was about listening to the land and learning how to live with it. The canyon did not offer an easy shape. Its walls were uneven and rough, refusing balance. Because of this, the bridge could not be perfectly even. The land decided the rules. On the northern side, the support tower rises to a height of 262 meters. On the southern side, the tower is shorter, standing at 205 meters. This difference was not planned. It happened because the ground would not allow anything else. The mountain spoke, and the engineers listened. The land itself is uneven. One side of the canyon drops sharply. The other side spreads wider and slower. This meant the cables could not follow the same path on both sides. Engineers drilled anchor points deep into the rock, but every anchor was different. Each cable followed its own quiet path through the stone, shaped by the mountain's form. Nothing was forced. Everything was adjusted. But shape was not the only challenge. The mountains here are alive. Guizhou province often feels the slow movement of the earth. When earthquakes happen, energy moves through the ground and reaches the bridge above. The long bridge deck, hanging freely, can move like a swinging weight. If that motion becomes too strong, damage could happen. To protect the bridge, engineers added shock absorbers at both ends. These devices calm sudden movement. Instead of letting energy rush through the bridge, they slow it down and spread it out gently. When the ground shakes, the bridge responds softly, not sharply. It bends with care instead of resisting with fear. Then there was the wind. Wind behaves differently inside a canyon. Narrow spaces make air speed up. Gusts twist and change direction without warning. In Huajiang Canyon, the wind can rush through with the force of fast trains. It pushes from below, from the side, and sometimes from above. Engineers did not guess how the bridge would respond. They built small models and tested them in wind tunnels. These tests helped, but they could not fully show how wind moves inside such a deep canyon. So another tool was used. Doppler LiDAR technology allowed engineers to see the wind itself. Laser beams were sent into the air. They bounced off tiny particles of moisture floating in the sky. By tracking how these particles moved, engineers created a living map of wind flow. They watched how air twisted through the canyon and learned when it became strongest. This knowledge helped them strengthen the bridge in the right places. Even after the bridge was finished and opened, the care did not stop. The bridge is always being watched. Inside, the main cables are thin fiber optic strands. These strands feel every stretch and movement. When the cables carry weight, the fibers stretch too. Light travels through them and returns with information. If something changes, engineers know right away. The bridge quietly speaks through light, and people listen. Day and night, without rest, it is observed with patience. But there was a hidden agenda, and that was why it was truly built. Stay with us. Why the bridge truly exists. When you first see the bridge, it may seem like a remarkable combination of steel and bravery, with its tall towers, countless cables, and a road suspended high up in the sky. However, beyond the structural marvels and impressive achievements, there lies a more profound purpose behind the construction of this bridge. The construction of the Huajiang Bridge was completed in just 3.5 years at a cost of approximately $300 million. The swift completion of such a complex project speaks volumes about the deliberate planning and execution that went into it. The speedy timeline was not coincidental. It was a carefully thought-out decision. Since 2012, China has injected massive amounts of money into constructing infrastructure like roads, bridges, railways, and airports in its most impoverished and remote areas. This initiative is known as China's battle against destitution. The concept is straightforward. By improving transportation and connectivity, individuals can experience transformation in their lives. Once considered one of the most impoverished areas in the nation, Guizhou province was geographically isolated by mountains, making travel arduous and risky. Limited by time and distance, opportunities were scarce for its residents. However, in present times, Guizhou has transformed significantly with the construction of highways cutting through valleys, high-speed rail networks, joining cities, and an international airport, expanding connections globally. This has resulted in a newfound sense of accessibility and growth in the region. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Guizhou plays a crucial role in China's Belt and Road Initiative, a worldwide strategy aimed at establishing interconnected economic routes between various countries. China aims to improve connectivity through the construction of infrastructure, such as roads, ports, railways, and bridges. This initiative serves as a demonstration of China's successful development model, even in challenging environments. This is the point where the significance of the Huajiang Bridge is redefined. The bridge was constructed with the intention of not just benefiting the residents of Guizhou, but also showcasing it to the global community. Concealed within its design is a meticulously orchestrated feature intended to capture the attention of passers-by, make them stop in awe, and entice photographers from all over the world. The construction of the bridge was strategized to transform it into a popular tourist spot rather than just a means of crossing. In one of the large support towers, there is a transparent elevator that goes up 800 meters. As it ascends, guests can observe the canyon disappearing below them. Upon reaching the highest point, the elevator leads to a 2-story cafe hanging above the terrain. The panoramic view from there extends endlessly over the rocky terrain, river, and sky. A transparent walkway beneath the road enables guests to peer directly down 625 meters to the bottom of the canyon. Their feet dangle above transparent glass, sending their hearts pounding. The ground seems incredibly distant, The experience is exhilarating, alarming, and permanently etched in their memories. An artificial waterfall has been constructed within the bridge, cascading over a vast distance. Steel is no longer the only dominant element, as water now also occupies the space. The combination of beauty and strength, along with emotion and engineering, creates a unique atmosphere, but the sightseeing experience is just the beginning of the vision. The bridge is in the process of being transformed into a hub for adrenaline-fueled activities. A bungee jumping platform has been installed, allowing thrill seekers to take the plunge. Organizers are working on arrangements for hosting professional base jumping competitions. There are talks underway about constructing a complete extreme sports facility at the bottom of the canyon. The communication is evident. This bridge is designed to be fully enjoyed. They serve as symbols and declarations, drawing visitors from far distances to admire, capture in photographs, and discuss their significance. In essence, infrastructure has evolved into a form of narrative. Every visitor who steps onto the glass walkway shares photos. Every traveler who rides the elevator tells a story. Every video posted online spreads the image further. Slowly, quietly, the bridge pulls the world closer. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.